Talkback question, why do some see Christopher Dorner as a vigilante hero? He's the former LAPD officer, also an accused serial killer, yet some say he's a vigilante hero. The debate rages on LA Talk Radio.
I believe what he's doing really is no different than our ancestors would have done and did do in fighting to get free. This is not murder, this is war.
Dorner fan sites with titles like "We Are All Chris Dorner" and the Christopher Dorner Appreciation Society are popping up on Facebook. And on Twitter, the hashtag #GoDornerGo. Now let's review. Christopher Dorner is a disgruntled LAPD officer fired from his job, accused of killing 3 people. He taunted the father of one of his alleged victims, saying he should have done a better job of protecting his daughter. Talkback, why do some see Christopher Dorner as a vigilante hero? Where is this coming from, Pete?
It's coming from an exclusive ignorance for those of us who are privileged to be born white in America. I mean, if you don't understand with some perspective the history of this country and racial violence oftentimes perpetrated by those in law enforcement or the owner, if you will, if you don't understand that history in this country, if you don't understand specifically the history of the LA Police Department and black folks, then you won't understand this. You should read Tim Wise, Michael Eric Dyson, Michelle Alexander, the new Jim Crow. That's where this is coming from. Black folks in America have been targeted by law enforcement. I don't want to generalize here at all, but specifically by, of course, law enforcement for generations in this country, and I think that's a lot of where this is coming from. But you have to understand history and perspective.
Yeah, but Roland, why at this particular time this man is still out there? He's still so dangerous. Why bring this up at all at this particular time?
Because he brought it up. I mean, look, I just did Geraldo Rivera's radio show, and we talked about this, and this is what it speaks to. First of all, if you hold him as a vigilante hero, for me, you're nuts. But in talking about Dorner, we can't act as if what he had to say should not be discussed. Why can't we talk about both? Why can't we condemn him? Why can't we say he is heinous for what he did, but then say, wait a minute, what is he talking about as it relates to police officers? When you talk about the Ramparts Division, when you talk about the history of the LAPD, depending upon where you live, you see them as being terrorists. And so what I'm saying is discussing that does not somehow validate him, does not say a stamp of approval. Those people are nuts. But we shouldn't act as if we can't have multiple conversations at one time.
But still a big part of me, Amy, a big part of me says, why now? Like, let's catch this. He's a vile monster.
Well, I mean, I think it's disgusting. I don't understand it. I think it's wrong that these people feel this way. But also, I think it's being sensationalized. It's all over the media. You've got these Hollywood, shows, TMZ showing him on their show. And the guy's probably out there watching all this coverage. I don't understand it. I think it's sick. But if you look at death row inmates, they have fans too. They have women that want to marry them. So, I think it's disgusting. And I don't think it's helping the situation that we're out here talking about it in the media.
And a part of me, Anna, points to the fact that the Los Angeles police chief reopened the investigation into why Dorner was fired, and maybe that's sort of fueling this kind of thing too.
But listen, that's the right way to do it. If there is something that needs to be investigated, if there's something that needs to be aired out, that's the way to do it. The way to do it is not by killing other cops. To me, I just don't understand this. I don't even want to use the word heroic in the same sentence and in the same segment as we are talking about a cop killer. We are not a savage society where we take our grievances and go shoot each other. That's not what we should aspire to. We have to aspire to a much better society where we fix the problems, where we address the issues that need to address. But we don't do it by killing each other, by leaving children orphaned, by leaving wives widowed, by leaving husbands alone. We don't do it that way in America.
Well, I gotta say, Pete, when I look at these Facebook pages, the first thought is, why is Facebook allowing these pages to exist, these fan sites, for this alleged serial murder? I know it's the First Amendment, but it's
because we don't suppress freedom of speech here. And Roland, I think, said it best, that we should condemn this guy and anybody who does this. But I disagree with Anna, and I disagree a little bit with Amy in that I do believe there are elements of our society that are very savage. The question I would ask everybody to ask, if you don't understand why this happened, why don't you understand where these things come from? I only got into this business because of September 11th and being here in New York City that day and losing friends. I asked why. Why did they do that? Why is this guy killing cops? It's not right. We're not saying it's okay.
You wouldn't open
we should
a
condemn
fan
it.
site
But
up for Osama bin Laden.
Of
Isn't
course
that
there
the
was.
same
Of
thing?
course there was.
But
Of
you
course
wouldn't do
there
it.
was. Yes, there was. In other parts of the world. What matters here is perspective. Whose perspective are we looking at this through? White America, black America. Do you understand history? Do you know the relationship between police and black folks in this country? Those are questions that people need to ask and need to learn about. And that's what this horrific killing raises.
But you know what? Asking those questions is very different from understanding. Really, Pete, I want to allow myself not to understand. I never want to be in a position where I can understand an assassin. That's just not where I want to take myself.
But wait a minute now, Carol.
Very blissful.
See, here's the deal.
How blissful
Roland,
that must be.
wait a second, Roland.
Carol,
We should condemn an individual who is gunning down cops, and we should have the courage to condemn cops who wrongfully gun down American citizens. And when you look at Oscar Grant in the Bay Area, when you look at Robbie Toller in Bel Air, Texas, whose baseball career was ended when the cops followed him and his friend home
Amadou Diallo,
in his
Rodney
driveway.
King.
And so we should have the willingness to condemn both, but we should not be in a situation, Carol, where we say don't talk, don't discuss, don't analyze, because the one thing we must be able to do is say we have to be able to do that to understand
Roland,
Amy, I want Amy to have the last word on this topic.
They need to be punished,
Amy?
but they do not need to be killed.
I will say, I mean, of course we should ask the questions and we should discuss it. But the problem is when it becomes sensational and when you're watching it on TMZ and Hollywood stars are reaching out to this guy. I mean, it's out of control. It's out of control. And I'm sure the guy is sitting out there watching it somewhere. But we should condemn him. It's wrong. He is a cop killer, and it is disgusting.
All right, time to hear from you, our Facebook friends. The question, why do some see Christopher Dorner as a vigilante hero? This from Kyle, because of all the crap and corruption in our justice system. This from Sunday, he's no hero, he's a psychopath. Please keep the conversation going. Facebook.com/CarolCNN or tweet me at CarolCNN.